reacts as tinfoil HT. I really want to make a joke about abbreviations there, but that's, I don't know, seems aggressive. But we do want to inform you of your relevant involvement in the investigation of the findings of our experiment. Yeah. The intro's been better. I don't know. So I was just smoking and watching the sunrise and thinking about life and the weird obsession that I have with fixing it's not even fixing, just like offering life. Like it's, and when I talk like that, it's like, holy shit, it sounds super fucking religious. You sound like shit that Jesus would say. Yeah, I say that in my brain. It's like, fuck. So what if everything that we think was said is wrong? So we kind of need to reset everything. And when you think about it, wow, sitting by the fire pit, this went way better. It's really hard to stay in flow and talk at the same time. So interesting. I mean, that's what makes smoking by the fire pit so engaging and intriguing. It's like you don't worry about whether the people around you are getting it because you can feel whether they get it or not. And when you're talking in a room into a camera while you look at yourself on a monitor, there's no feedback in that loop. It's just an infinite loop. It's stuck in an infinite loop. It's very wild and interesting. Yeah. I forgot to post the shit though. Yeah. Make it from a place today, because last time we were live from nowhere, which I found seemingly amusing actually. It was very interesting. I guess we don't need sound here. Alright, so we're getting this tinfoil hat production live from Earth. Mental Masturbating, Pat McAfee Show, Speakeasy, featuring Simple Sean as Tinfoil HT, Woo Wee Out the Woohoo. Be where your feet are jam. Simulation Universe Ball number 7. Fuck yeah. This is absolutely fucking absurd. Like, you kind of have to be to do anything nowadays, and it's just so annoying. It's like, I don't want this to be the best idea. It's absurd to me that I'm even contemplating this, and that I got to the point where I think that it's a good idea. But fuck it, like I'm not doing anything else, so why not? And if God, the universe, you had a better plan for what I should be doing, then I guess I would be doing that. So since God, the universe, and my opinion of what God and the universe is the far reaches of what influences me. you can't name, I don't know, how many people do you think have influence on you? So the people that have influence on you would be the people who influence the people who influence you. So your inner circle, then your inner circle has their inner circle, and their inner circle has their inner circle, their outer circle. And like that would be where your sphere of influence is, because your outer circle would influence the thing that influences what influences you. Yeah, that's that's weird when you try to like figure out what the number of like how big is God. That's how big God is, right? And it's so fucking weird. Like think about that. Like the people who influence me is far smaller now that it's weird how it gets smaller with time. I have to imagine like when I was little, I could name a whole bunch of people that were like influences on me, and I guess they would still be right because they were in the past, so they still are, and they will be in the future. So that moment in time that influences something is always relevant. It's always existing. Some iteration of it. Like, what is that ordeal? I'm sure there's a Back to the Future reference there somewhere. Um, but yeah, I don't have like anybody who I'd say dictates my thinking. Like the influences I have are the things that I have for like the art in my like I don't think government is not like religion, government. They're the same thing. Um, I guess that's actually the most influential thing because that's the thing that we're inventing, and it's obsessive. That's my kind of obsession right now. So I guess that's actually a huge influence when you think about it. Holy fuck! But then that's super conceited because then who's the biggest influence of that? It's me, and the biggest influence of that is whatever it is that I'm trying to prove that we're labeling as God, which I label as the group of the influences of me. So now we're in a big fucking circle here, bud. Um, yeah. So then I'm the biggest influence for that, artistically. I mean, uh, as painful as it is for me to say out loud, like the ecosystem of the Pat McAfee show is probably the biggest artistic influence, and that spirals into a whole bunch of different directions. Um, like from a goal standpoint, having the environment that you perceive through watching the show is an idea that I want to explore. I don't like to say goal, but like because goal you you're ending, right? Like goal is a finish. And if you finish, then you have to find something else to have as a purpose. So like the idea of having that environment is very intriguing. And and the perception that I have of reality, like reality is just the observers observing problems they don't have the solutions to or prepared to do perform whatever it takes to have to get the solution or whatever the verbiage is there. Um, so if you think about reality as that, then fuck, I lost it. Fuck, fuck. I was doing so good. I had my fucking fire fidget spinner because I'm a little fucking pyro. Like, isn't that weird? It's interesting. Like, um, the 14-year-old kid and you're like, I was like, how many of you 14, like little kids, unsupervised, were you obsessed with like fire? Like stole the strike anywhere matches from your parents and try to like light them on your zipper with your fucking jeans. Try to do that. I always thought you were gonna catch your junk on fire, but never did. And if you think about it, it'd be really hard for you to do that. Like, how dry would your jeans have to be for you to catch your pants on fire with a flick of a match? That'd be weird. Or like the magnifying glass in the newspaper, trying to catch the newspaper on fire, like the science experiment. Pretty sure just people still do that. Should totally still do that. I mean, did everybody or did not everybody who did that try to catch ants on fire? I mean, I definitely did. And I want to say I went as far as to try and like make it into a laser and try to like catch like wasps and things on fire with it. Never got very good at it, but I want to think that that's a thing that I did because I had a lot of free time. We also used to look for those like fuzzy black and red caterpillars. We had a bunch of those. I liked those. I don't remember why. I don't remember what they turned into. I don't remember why like, those were like the only insects that I really liked. Like they were fuzzy black and red. Probably like some horrible horrible bug that like eats houses or something. Uh, but I don't know. They were always okay. I don't know. I was never like afraid of them. Like earthworms. It's weird because I feel like there was a time where I didn't care about them, and then there was a time where I was like, ew. And now I'm kind of like, ah, fuck, you need them to like survive. They're like good at eating your poop or whatever, and all the rest of the shit that's in the soil makes plants grow. We had a bunch of those where I grew up. It was a good time. It was a good time. So Bitcoin, yeah, that's what I came on here to talk about. So it's super interesting that like Bitcoin has a cap at how many that you can have, and I think so like 21 million. Fuck, Grok said something. We were talking about it outside. So there's like a cap on it. And I don't really get how the math worked. Like it went into like divided by two is like a whole fractal thing, and it goes up. And I don't know. I feel like I should understand that, but I definitely don't. Um, I think it's like saying something that I'm saying, and I get it, but don't get it type of thing. But whatever. Um, so I don't really understand how you get to the 21 million. That one, that one's beyond me a little bit. Uh, but I think that's the limit to it. Uh, but I thought I read that they're like trying to stop to like put mm, yeah, like make it so you can't get there. I don't know, but it'd be weird if you did, because I think like Bitcoin is the next iteration of value exchange, a material value exchange. Does that mean? If you look at society, the biggest challenge that we have, and where the biggest issue is the determination of value. Um, the individual has really no way to establish their own value um, in the market. And like, and I say that like you don't get to determine the things you have to do in the experience. You don't get to determine the value of it, right? Like if you're self-employed, then you do get like this isn't relevant to you because you're not doing what you have to do. Your self-employed people are doing what they want to do. You want to do that because if you didn't want to do it, you would be doing something else, right? But there are people that are working because they have to like there is a there is a necessity for an economy to work for the individuals inside of the economy to uh, input some sort of value, um, and those are going to be your shit jobs, like your minimum wage jobs, like your anything that's that's an hourly wage that you don't get to pick or you don't get to negotiate or you don't. As I'm saying this, it's like you do get to negotiate, but it's like, and I hear the argument like you could go like they offer you X when they offer you the job, you can go and offer Y and they say yes or no or counter offer something else. But like, and that's how the negotiation goes. But like the the outer limits of this is where the issue is. Like I always had when I had hourly jobs, it was like you were between $75,000 a year and $40,000 a year, and it was like a fucking used car. Uh, Buying a used car. The company always wanted to get you into that job at like $40,000, and you never knew where the cap was, so you didn't know where you were going to max out usually before you got in there. When you get in there, you find out what the cap is, and you're like, "Fuck, I should have asked for more." Usually, like, "Holy shit, this job is worth that much." Um, but the other side of that is like, if you have somebody that finds, like, this is the part that always confused me about employment. Like, if you have somebody, and then I've heard people talk about this, so this is not my idea. This is just I know that this is somebody else's original idea, but through convergent evolution or convergent thinking or whatever the rats had from New York and LA and whatever with the electrocution from the light experiment, um, whatever that's called, where we all kind of have one big mind, because that's where most of the shit comes from. Is everybody else's shit is just filling up my empty space with their shit, and it's a whole bunch of like shit. So I'm trying to get rid of it so more shit can come in, so we can have one big happy pile of shit. Um, fuck, fuck, fuck. What was I saying? Oh, fuck. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Talking about conversion evolution. This is not my idea. It's not my idea. Holy fuck. Fucking ran away quick. Feel like it was good because usually what is good is like really hard to dig it out. Fuck. But really the reason why I was talking about Bitcoin and like putting guardrails on it is like I don't know where we're at. We're going back to this part. We're forking off another direction. Fucking we might run back into that path or whatever. Fucking welcome to entanglement. It's fucking wild. Um, I don't. I think what if we put limits on Bitcoin and trying not to let Bitcoin evolve to the point it depreciates to nothing, because I think that's what I read was like it depreciates to nothing in like 2146, or maybe that's the last time it's mined and it's like 23 something. I don't fucking know, but like they were able to predict, because they're just using like, it's math, so it's only based on the information that they can measure precisely. Is precisely the words? Precision is repeatable, right? Is that precision? Whatever the one is that's like the most true and accurate, and like whatever the word is that it applies to everything. Um, and we don't have very many things that we can measure. We've made up some measurements and they've kind of worked into a point, and now we're to the point at which we may have been measuring the wrong things, and we're trying to explain the wrong things that we've used to measure to explain something that shows that we've been measuring it wrong. Kind of like it's the moment where we realize that the earth is round, and because we think the earth is round, we think everything is round, but we're getting to the moment in time where the how do we there's foundational axioms of math. One is like a point, then the other one is like this, a line is 2 points, and then there was one for like 3 dimensions, and then these are all like one liner things, and then there's like a fucking paragraph, or maybe it's different. I think we're about ready to get to the point where we have a second paragraph for it. Fuck, you did it again, dude. Where were you going? Wow. You are a fucking space cadet sometimes. Jesus. Fucking. Wow. Shouldn't put guardrails on Bitcoin. Like, this is all stemming from Bitcoin. This is fucking welcome to my. This is good. Fucking show everybody that they're crazy. Looking for other crazy people that are like crazy like me. And yeah. So we need to, like, Bitcoin is interesting because it acknowledges that the current monetary system that we have is almost to that point of zero, right? Like the value of centralized money, for lack of a better term. I don't that system was great when it was great for what it was, and now we're currently too large for that system. So we need to create an additional system to help balance. Yeah, balance, for lack of a better term, balance the experience again, for lack of, like, I don't, how do I draw, like, and with that balance, the the thing that's being created to help create that balance is eventually going to be that imbalance. Like, Bitcoin is going to all that, well, yeah, all systems of value exchanges have been exploited to the point at which a new value exchange needed to be created. And I think we now have there has always needed to be, after a certain point, there needed to be a secondary value exchange, and that is the creation of money. Like, I feel like this this cow is worth 4 chickens, right? Or this, like, there's always that's and then somebody was like, well, this coin is going to be worth a cow, so everything's got to be put into to relations of a cow. Or maybe they didn't, like, we just randomly pick something to be like, one of X amount of X's or X amount of Y's is worth one Z. Like, I think that's the formula that they use. Like, and that's like, what is it? An ounce of gold, X and Y, is worth $500 Z. Like, that's what we've decided. And and the malfunction with that is, whatever you pick, not everyone is going to have the same appreciation for the value. Like, people think that the gold standard matters, but there's a very large population of people that have never experienced interacting with gold to even have an appreciation for it. And there are those who have interacted with it that don't have an appreciation for it. So it's not valuable to be a whatever backing is, like gold. The standard at which a currency can be valued. Like, it's not something everybody has. Um, Now, if you go back further in time, back at the time, like if you think about it, like, people say slaves weren't paid, and fair point. And this is something. This is where my dad calls me a communist, which is super awesome, but I'm not. I think the I think the way in which we perceive a communal living experience, working for a common goal, with the value not being monetary, is where the problem is, because the two parallel economies are going to be the people who, the only thing that people have that's universal, that we understand the value of, excuse me, and we all can, like, put a value on, like, is our time. Like, how much is an hour of your time worth? And we put it in dollar figures, but dollar figures, again, are, you can't put them in dollar figures because it's not backed by something. So something other than dollars, like, what is your time worth? Um, and the experience of doing that is going to be enough for a lot of people, and doing a lot of things. Um, so, like, there used to be a value exchange for, like, your time. Like, people speak about a universal basic income. Like, you can't have a basic income because not everybody, like, not everybody cares about money. Like, you can't give the people, like, we quote numbers of, like, there's so many number of people in society that are at this threshold, like the poverty threshold. um, and we pretend that all of them need to be rescued, um, when I don't think that they need to be rescued. I think that a vast majority of them, um, the vast majority of them are there on purpose. Um, I didn't get it to it in the intro today because I was rushed, in my mind. Like nobody was rushing me. There wasn't anybody fucking here. Um, but I wanted to get to talking about this so quickly that I forgot to say, like, um, these are the reportings of the finding of our experiment, and this experiment is an exercise in accountability. So, with that being said, anything that happens after here is entirely your fault. Um, Translation: if you're having a bad time, it's because you made bad choices. So, make better choices. And so when I say the following, where the reiterating that the people, we quote this number of people that are in like the middle class or the poverty line, and like we say that the poverty line is growing, and like that's a bad thing. If the poverty line is growing that much, it's the people's economic value showing it's the market speaking to you. It's the only way that we can speak. It's like we don't need the time that we need to spend to chase this rabbit isn't worth it anymore. So we're willing to like have a different experience with less things. Um, and that's why like going back to an environment where your time is is an experience is where the majority of the value comes in, and then secondarily is the monetary value, um, of everything. And there are, I would dare say, um, that if we actually looked at like the lower, like if we're going to use demographics, like look at the poverty line and the lower part of middle class or the entire middle class. Like I don't know what everybody's goals are. Like my goal literally is to be able to contribute the minimum to societal's expectations, and then figure out how a way to make it so everybody can just do the minimum, and then perform their art for the rest of their time. And like art is a very vague and vast thing, but art is anything that's just not, it's art is anything that's not competition, information, or government. Obviously that's pure art. Like it's just your expression of your experience is art. You do that in a whole bunch of different ways. Sometimes you express it by sitting in your backyard and meditating, and that's your expression because it's, as I went through earlier, God is your meditations talking to other people's meditations. Like when you put it out there in the universe, it may leave your consciousness or your whatever, but it still floats through the ether until it runs into something else, right? Like that's the law of anything. Like physics, I think, is just there's no laws of physics, like, but like they're all always there's. I think the laws of physics aren't really laws of physics; they're just eventualities, right? They're just obvious eventualities in the experience. An object in motion will stay in motion. Like you're gonna do what you're gonna like you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do until somebody smacks you in the face and tells you not to do it, or you're not gonna do anything until you see somebody do something that the result is something that you want to do. Like the reason why you play sports is because somebody either kicked your ass and made you do it, or there was something that you did something that made you feel good, like you had fun doing it, or you were good at it and the reaction that you got because you were good at it was what you wanted to do. And like somewhere in there is the pure, or like is the best combination of those things. It's a wild fucking ride again, dude. I don't hate it though. This is more like what I'm thinking. I like. I'm not gonna lie. It would be cool to like not just be talking to myself, but we all got to be a little bit crazy. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean. Um. So back to why I think like we're in a time where we need to let things expire. Like everything has, you're either imbalanced, so you either know what your opposite is and you work with your opposite to keep both of you um, content. Ooh, there's a good word, content. Um, or, and like this is the government competition battle. Like your government, that's what religion is. Religion is trying to keep everybody content. Like how do we make you content not to a Highlander? They're making a new Highlander. So to be only one, right? That's what religion is trying to do to make it so you want to be bigger than yourself. But competition, which is the other part you need for society to advance, for people, you need to have that friction because without that friction, uh, literally you just become a big fat slob talking to yourself on the internet, thinking that you're funny when you're really just probably a fucking crazy person that's 3 steps away from standing on a street corner with a sign saying the end is near and Jesus will save us. Um, that's probably what happens if you don't have the friction of competition, um, and keeping that balance. Like if we have pure competition, we know that that's bad because pure competition ultimately ends in stillness, like the ultimate stillness. Like if you end up by yourself, if there's only one of you, then there's no whatever you are is whatever you are. So you have to either apply your own friction, which is what I think meditation is like getting so still that the only friction that you have is your friction. Um, but you can also get so big that there is no friction, right? Like you get so big that just like nothing matters. So it's like finding that sweet spot is is what some systems um, do, and I think value is ever evolving, right? Because if your systems are constantly churning, your governments and your competition, your religion and your government, because like religion and government are your most is religion is your government of the influence of your influence of the things that influence your influencers. Is that the right level? And then competition is is thinking that you're right. I am right. So then whatever is right is what ends up being the winner of the competition, right? If it's right, if it's the thing, um, why do we know how to breathe? Um, because there was a competition of what we should do in this environment, and that's what won. Like, imagine if there was another way to do whatever all of the things that it is that we had done, and however we were, if we were created and our creator ran into that first, and that's the one that they went with when there was a much better one, and they just stopped. Like, and that's where the interesting part of society is knowing when you have enough, when you're you're in a good spot. Like legs. What was the guy who killed his wife or whatever in South Africa? Didn't he have like special bladed legs? and they're like, if we were gonna make a human again, we would make them with this legs, and they would go so much faster. Blah 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 blah. And I thought about it, and I was like, if you're going to redesign a human to have those kind of legs, I mean, there's a reason. Like, what's the reason why we would have bones the way we have bones? Like, there doesn't your like humerus? I think that's the big bone in your leg. Your humerus or your femur, and your ulna and your femur. Yeah, those are your leg bones connected to your hip bone. Your hip bones connected to your uh whatever that is. But it's like, isn't it like strong enough to like support a car? It's some wild, like our bones are wildly strong, yet insanely fragile. And like, why would we evolve the way that we evolved, and why do we think that that would make it better? Like, I think if you're going to redesign a human, you have to redesign everything, because I think the reason why we're designed the way we are is to make sure that we stay within it's a guardrail. Um, it's a guardrail for consciousness. It's a guardrail for God. It's a guardrail for humanity. Um, there are limits to the experience, and if you go outside the limits of the experience is over. Mm, mm. I mean, that's kind of the ultimate one, right? Like, that's the ultimate. I mean, that's the meaning of life, is to orchestrate your suicide. The meaning of life is to find a thing in which you would give up the experience for. A thing bigger than you. What is, they call it the ultimate sacrifice. What would you give up your experience for? It's interesting, called the ultimate sacrifice. It's like the only thing that you have is your experience. So the only thing that you could really take is yours. So it's the only sacrifice that you can really make. All the rest of it are just kind of like enhancing of your experience to what you want, and like your your experience is just creating, and it's nurturing and killing things. Like, it's fucking it, saying fuck it to things, and it's feeding things. And if you're not saying fuck it to anything, or you're not feeding anything, you're looking for something to say fuck it, or then like those are the three major phases of life. Um, like, phase four is where you get to when you said fuck it to everything, or you said fuck it to everything and you fed everything till it's full, and now they're off saying fuck it to things. And that's what phase four is, and you're just kind of watching. And most people that get to phase four, they kind of like dive back into fucking everything. Just like, all right, well, let's run the gauntlet of something else, and let's let's get into let's get into some specific thing that I have. Let's say fuck it to things that I like, or things of things that I hate, or things that I've never known existed. And then there are people like me who are just like, I don't want to say fuck it to more things. I just kind of want to hang out and enjoy the experience that I've created. And you may not appreciate it, and but waking up in the morning and driving around for a few hours to watch the sunrise, and then sit by a fire pit and smoke a joint watching the sunrise, and then thinking for the day, or watching watching a talk show pretty much, of people having the experience that I would like to be having experienced, having an iteration of an experience that I would like to have on a daily basis also. That makes sense. That's wild. But yeah, like this is an example of what I want is true. Now, do I think there's way more than there's way more to that to getting to that environment than what is shown 3 hours a day. Like there's a bunch of shit that happened before that, and I don't know what that is. But I would enjoy having like a small group of people that you have that type of uh, banter with, and occasionally you just have somebody stop by, like J.J. Watt or Aaron Rodgers or angry golf guy. I don't remember his name. He's not really angry, but yeah, go dogs. Um, I don't remember his name. Mm, mm, oh well, fuck it. Or any number of people, but obviously your version of that in your group, like, or somebody has a phone number and you literally just fucking drunk dial them from the fire pit while you're stoned. Like, hey, we need this information. They either pick up or they don't. Like, I'd go on dates and we would talk about how we usually this happens on a regular basis where we say something and they're like, what would your mom say? And I'm like, I don't know, let's call her, and just fucking called her. And she usually answered. And everybody but me was very confused in that situation. But I thought it was hilarious to be like, hey, mom, what did you really think? And was I right? Usually I was right. Or my mom just wanted to agree with me because she felt sorry for me and or super confused about what the fuck was happening because it's usually calling her at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night in Las Vegas or Phoenix, and they live on the East Coast, so it's like 10 or 11 o'clock, and she just woke up when I thought I was probably calling from jail or something. Oh, that's fun. But the moral of the story that I was trying to get out, that we walked down all of this wildly inappropriate and whatever, is I'm pretty confident I have a really good idea of how the world works, and and I think we're trying to control too much, and we don't understand what things have a life cycle, and how to be prepared for the end of that life cycle. And I think Bitcoin is the thing that was created because whoever created it realized that we were at the end of the current monetary establishment's life cycle. We can see that with with Elon Musk and being he's a trillionaire now, and didn't he say he's like in his lifetime he can be a trillionaire? Like when you're getting to those numbers, like they're not real numbers. Like I understand that you can write them on a piece of paper, um, and you can perform mathematical functions with them, um, but like those numbers don't exist at a level in which uh, we can comprehend. Like they're not real, and if you can't that's I guess that's what I mean by real. Like it's like we can't comprehend what we have a hard time comprehending what 1,000 is. Like, do you if we showed a crowd of people, would you be able to tell like how many thousands of people they are? Like, I think a lot of people would be off by a lot. Like, how many minutes do you think 50 years is? Do you think it's plus or minus a million? 500,000? 250,000? Like, what, without Googling it, do you know the answer to it? Like, The only reason I think I haven't know the answer to it is because my parents just had their 50th wedding anniversary, and like they had the minutes on the little flag that they had, but it wasn't. I was shocked by what the number actually was. So like we don't comprehend those numbers. So when you get into numbers that nobody comprehends, like it's like okay, cool, but it's not. It doesn't mean anything. If it doesn't mean anything, it can't. It can't determine value anymore. And like we've gotten to the point where the dollar, the currency doesn't mean anything to enough people. And I think the number for it to have an effect is only 3%. But once you get to like, I think it's, if in my made up math world, it calculates out to once it gets to about 18%, um, this is a thing. Like it doesn't, it's kind of grows legs of its own, and you kind of have to let it run its course. So you try to control it, and you end up turning it into something that it's not, but it's still going to take over. Like that's like the taking over is inevitable, or its existence is inevitable. It's working within the balance of it, and taking care of yourself, but working in balance of the other thing. And I think that's what Bitcoin is trying to do. Is like we need to have a currency to which um, it equates to something everybody has an understanding of value. The fact that it's 21 million is fucking mind-boggling to me, though. Um, Especially since there's like 9 billion people on Earth. Actually, it's not, because if you think about it, see, that's where I think this guy was a genius, or I think we're both the same genius, and I'm gonna try to tell people why. Um, 21 million is an interesting number because like, and if it's right, fuck it, and we think that we need to like add decimal points to this, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong, but that's more for a cataloging and Dewey Decimal System style thing that we created, or actually, I think we've been using it for a while. I think, especially in computer programming, like we've bastardized it and made it way more complicated than it was. But like, there's three coordinates to where you exist inside of 21 million. 21 million, if you add three zeros, is 21 billion. So that would give everybody 2 coins. Super interesting. Like you guys don't know the amount of time that I put into like creating the actual economy of this whole ordeal, or simulating it in my head. So this is an epiphany of like what the actual exchange is going to be if I'm right. So if everybody gets 2 coins, every day is worth a coin. So a coin is worth 24 hours. And that's what the exchange is going to be. Um, so essentially, you're going to, and that goes, oh, fuck, this is a wild circle. You ready to go in a wild circle? All right, so fuck it. The joke I have inside my mind is that I live on about $40 a day. Um, I think art is amazing, and you can consume art in so many ways. And I've recently, like, my person got me into reading, and I don't know what rabbit hole we went down, but I found Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I started reading that book, and the Hitchhiker's Guide to a Galaxy is I forget what they say, but it's basically an almanac on how to get from one end of the experience to the other. It's the universe, but I'm calling it the experience, on $30 a day. And in living like that, living where uh, there's not a lot of you're on rails in this experience. Like you're not even aware of the floor. Well, you're aware of the floor, but because you can fall with those you're on training wheels where you can fall as opposed to being on rails, like because you have to be able to turn in reality. So it's training wheels as opposed to being like a train on rails, where it's like as long as you're not going too fast, you're gonna stay on this fucking course. Training wheels, you can hit a rock, fall on your face, um, and that's what it's kind of like when you're living like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. When you're living on that 30, 40, $50 a day, like you can't hit a pothole. But if you had an extra day, you could hit a pothole, and you'd be okay for most potholes. You'd be okay. With everybody's gonna have a. If anybody ever, I haven't answered all of your yeah buts. It's all worked out. So that makes sense that you would only have 2 coins, and then each coin would be broken up into 3 pieces, and each of those pieces would be broken up into 3 more pieces, and that's 9. Yeah, so you'd have 9, and that's where you get your 9th. So you have your main 1, 2, 3, and those are worth 4. 2. Yeah, they're worth 3. 1, 2, 3 are all worth 3. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all worth a third. Or half of are worth a half. That's wild. That's too complicated. But that's the currency. So like now we have an establishment of what time would be. And that's the problem, is like time is 1/24th. And that's why we need to reset time. That's why we need to have a new way of time. That's interesting. To fix the economy, we first must fix time. Or to fix the economy, we must also fix time. That's super interesting. I'm getting into like super. We're at an hour. I think I did okay. Really probably need to cut some of this stuff because I think some of it's interesting, and I got most of it out today, which is a good day. Got to get the intro in, but this is what I think I like. I think I'm going to do this. I think this is the way it's going to go, and maybe I'll get the balls. I think this is it. All right, so remember, there is no action without reaction. So react with purpose, react promptly, and if possible, react politely.